I'm Beth Ann.
And this is Let's Talk BL, a Boys Love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday, Series Sunday, the day of the week where we talk all about one series only, chock full of spoilers. So, if you have not watched Pit Babe, where have you been? What rock are you living under?
I mean, listen, I can understand. I have heard a lot of people being like, I'm waiting to binge this one. Like, I think that's pretty common. So, I'm not going to accuse you of living under a rock, but as a very early Pit Babe pusher,
yes,
I'm going to question why you haven't started watching it now that the show's over.
Yeah, my question for binge watchers is, do you just like deal with the spoilers for the series that are super popular? Because I feel like for me at least, I open IG or Twitter and there's just instant spoilers for the really popular shows.
Yeah, because so I'm a binger as a binger. Yeah, because if I'm not watching the show and I don't know anything about it, those spoilers don't stick in my head. Like, I'm not going to remember. Like, it's not actually a spoiler because I don't know anything about the story.
I see.
So, like, I don't know anything that's led up to that moment. I don't know what that moment means. I don't even know those characters' names. Like, I don't know anything about them. So, like, it's not, at that point, it's not really a spoiler.
I see. I guess for me, because, like, there's stuff in American pop culture, because, like, I haven't participated in American pop culture in so long that, like, even if I don't watch a show or know anything about it, like, I never watched Game of Thrones, but I, like, know so much about the show because, like, that content was everywhere. So I guess for me, I see a lot of the spoilers and I'm like, oh, like, how do you avoid them? Or
but that's also
I guess they
assuming
just,
you
they
care
don't
about
stick.
avoiding it. Yeah. And, like, yeah, it's not going to... For me, it doesn't stick because I'm not into the story.
Yeah. You're like
I'm not sitting there thinking about, like...
the characters.
Yeah. I mean, later, by the time I do binge the show, when that moment comes around, I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. I remember seeing that. But, like, it doesn't ruin anything.
I see. Yeah, people get so passionate about spoilers.
I think that spoilers only matter if you see it when you're, like, already halfway through the show, right? So, like, for example, when I was watching I Promise You the Moon.
Oh, my God, yes. And Bilkin spoiled it.
Bilkin spoiled it for me. Like, I hadn't even had time. It's not like I was even waiting to binge or waiting to watch the episode.
Yeah, you were watching it live.
Like, I was watching it live. I literally woke up that morning and I just hadn't watched it yet. And I assumed that Bilkin's story would be safe. Like, I stayed off Twitter. I stayed off everywhere. No, Bilkin posted the end. Oh my God, I was so mad. And I was already mad at him because his character was so frustrating in that show. Like, I got so mad at his character in that show that for a minute I was like, I literally don't want to see his face ever. Like, I was like, I can't look at his face.
You're like, I'm not watching this show anymore. I hate him.
And I literally couldn't see Bilkin without being mad. So then whenever he spoiled it, I was like, I was so mad. Yeah, I think spoilers only have that kind of effect if you're, like, in the middle of
watching
the show.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the nuts and bolts because we have so much to talk about. It is 13 eps, which is a very strange, random
I feel like
number.
That happens every now and then.
Yeah. I guess I'm just, like, GMMTV brainwashed to 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It's on IG, and it was the first BL produced by Change 2561.
Yes.
Hopefully we get so many more. I'm so excited.
Yeah, they did a great job.
I'll be curious to see if they, like, do something else with this group of boys or if they, like, start all over again. Because, like, they really put a lot of work into this group of boys. Like, they showed all the casting. They then did Boys Journey. They did.
But I feel like that was
all the content
in promotion of
the
Pit
show.
Babe. So I don't know that it's that they put a lot of work into the boys. I feel like that's more an indication of they put a lot of work into the show.
The show, for sure. Yeah, they did. They killed it. Okay, here is the cast. I went with the entire cast. We have Pit Babe, played by Pavel. Charlie, played by Pooh. Jeff, played by Pawn. Alan, a.k.a. Lung, played by Salub. Wei, played by Sapanut. Pete, played by Ping. Kinta, played by Garfield. Kim, played by Benz. North, played by Michael. Sonic, played by Top 10.
Oh my God. By the way, Michael and Top 10 are, like, my favorite. Like, I'm so obsessed with them.
I'm very proud. I did this whole cast listing by memory, except for North and Sonic. I couldn't remember who was who. Like, the names, like, I knew Michael and Top 10, but I couldn't remember, like, who was North and who was Sonic.
Right.
Because they came as a package deal always.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Yeah. Okay, synopsis.
Yes.
Pit Babe is a new vibe of boy love series that tells the love story between a king racer with special abilities and a naive young man. This love started from unknown each other, come be love, and become hateful.
Excuse me?
When one day a hot, nerdy, innocent boy asked to join the racing team with the exchange that the king racer set up to satisfy one's own desires. But the fun quickly turned into love. One day he learns that young, hot nerd actually has a hidden talent and it can destroy him. More complexity. When he realized that the innocent boy was sent by his hated father for some great business.
Oh my God.
From passionate love instead, he had to do everything to prove his innocence. If he still wants each other and this love of both them are plenty of friendship, warmth, passion, betrayal, and vengeance. You went off the rails real fast.
IG really needs to work on their synopsis.
That went off the rails real quick.
That's really funny. There's just so much.
There's so much wrong with that. I mean, on one hand, I do think I prefer a synopsis that doesn't tell you anything about the show or what's going to happen in it. I do tend to prefer that. On the other hand, that was useless.
On the other hand, if you're reading this thinking like, oh my gosh, what kind of series am I getting if this is the synopsis?
Oh, you have no idea.
Where you're like, no, I don't.
You know there's a young hot nerd.
Yes.
And a king racer.
A king racer. And then a hated father with some gray business.
Yes. Would we call that gray business, or would we just straight up call it like
black
human
business?
trafficking?
Yeah.
Like the devil's work. Yeah.
That was a solid synopsis.
I don't know that I would call it solid.
It was
like that's a choice.
Okay, here's my question. We've talked about this before. They call it a new vibe of boys love series. Would we call this a new vibe?
Yes, because
of the Omegaverse of it all?
Yeah, we might as well just jump right into the Omegaverse.
Because this is like Love in the Air, but like
first live action Omegaverse. Yes.
Okay. That is a new vibe. That is a whole vibe. I remember. So this is amazing. So Ayla was like, loved this show to begin with, was like super pumped about it, was so excited. And then what was it, like ep 1 or 2 where like there was like a hint of Omegaverse and Ayla was like, wait, is it?
I was like, because I had heard everything that I had read was like, they're not going to lean too hard into the Omegaverse. They're just going to use like the characters in the story, but the Omegaverse of it all isn't really going to come into play.
This is a great example of the internet gaslighting you into believing they know exactly what these productions have decided.
And so I was like, okay. I was like, I feel that. I vibe with that. That's cool. And then, as soon as
the Papa Mama stuff,
I was like, oh no. And then they started having like intense conversations about who could impregnate who. And I was like, oh no. No.
Listen, like, it's 2024. I have no problem talking about men impregnating other men. Who knows? One day it can happen.
Sure.
I think
someone that like read a lot of fanfic and has been down those deep like Omegaverse just for me personally is not a verse that I vibe with.
Not a new vibe for you.
No.
So in fanfic is like this kind of stuff really prevalent?
I mean, if you read Omegaverse, it's a genre. It's a genre of fanfic.
Well, no, my question is like outside of Omegaverse, like it's not called Omegaverse else, like is impreg and that stuff?
No, that only happens in Omegaverse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not like Louis Harry fanfic doesn't have like impreg in it.
But if you like go deep into fanfic, you just start reading lots and lots and lots of fanfic, you do stumble across it because there's Omegaverse for like any niche of fanfic you could want. Like if you read 1D fanfic, if you read Harry Potter fanfic, if you read literally
there is an Omegaverse version.
There's probably not an Omegaverse version. They're their own stories. So it's not a version of something else. It's like there are those characters in Omegaverse.
I see.
You most likely, if you ever were really into fanfic, have like stumbled across an Omegaverse fic at some point or another, and like you probably got curious and you probably were like, okay, well let me read this to see what's happening. And then if you're like me, you were like, Oh no.
Do you know that
No.
For some reason, I have always been under the impression that Omegaverse came from China. Is that true?
I have no idea.
If you're into Omegaverse stuff, tell us where it originated, because I'm really curious as to like what culture is like down that rabbit hole.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because I feel like I always hear it in relation to like Untamed, like that type of like BL, like the like Chinese whatever.
Omegaverse tends to be more like fantasy fanfic, so like werewolves, vampire, like that kind of situation.
I remember when I first learned about Omegaverse, I was like, oh, so like Twilight minus the werewolves.
Nope, only werewolves.
Only werewolves.
Yeah.
Minus the werewolves just make it people, but like the same lore put into people. They just don't become werewolves.
Some Omegaverse do, like, they are legit werewolves. Like, it's like legit, like, yeah.
Omegaverse. I remember reading, because I was like, I don't, like, when you get into BL, you hear that pop up every once in a while, but I had zero clue as to what it was. And then I like went to, I think, Reddit and read about like what it all was. And I was like, there's some people with some imaginations.
I will say, I think that if they were going to use the Omegaverse stuff, I think they did it I think
as tastefully
they did it as tastefully as they could have, while
agree.
staying true to the source material. Like, I do respect that. I get that. I feel that. I just, as a person in daily life, any couple, the whole like papa mama, like my biggest pet peeve in life, and I'm so sorry if this is like you, and I don't mind when other people do it, like for themselves and their situations, but like for me, like, I am not my dog's mother. My husband is not my dog's father. That's my dog. I adopted the dog, but he's not.
He's a dog.
Like,
you're a human.
I hate when, like, oh my God, my biggest pet peeve is like when we take the dog to the vet and they're like, oh, do you want to sit with mom? Like, mom, can you come like pet him to like calm him down? No, because I'm not his mom. I don't know why it just like irks me. It's just like, no. I think because like
everyone has their thing.
Potentially because of how I was raised, right? Like, I did for a while like live on a ranch, and like my whole life, like my whole family, like dogs have jobs, and so like some dogs, like little dogs, their job is to keep your mom company, but like that doesn't mean that that's now like a child.
Yeah.
So like dogs have jobs, right? Like some dogs, their job is to keep the family company. Some dogs, their job is to work on the ranch.
Know your place, dog.
Like, not necessarily that, but yeah, that's my biggest. But like, I hate when people are like, "Oh, mommy," like. So like, I just can't with the papa mama stuff. I understand when people call themselves like mom and dad to their kids, but when
my grandparents called each other mom and dad.
But when you like. When I hear people, and I have some people in my life that do this, are like refer to themselves as mom and dad to other people, like not to the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. And
I mean,
that's what. Don't tell me. I'm not judging you. Please don't take. This
that's
wrong
what Korean culture does. They like refer to themselves as like Johnny's mom. Like, I am Johnny's mom.
Right, but that has to do with the language. Like, that is literally built into the language.
It's different when it's like...
Yes. Like, that's really different funny. Because that has to do with, like, honorifics and language.
Right.
Because, for example, if... Even in Korean, if... Let's use my name as an example. If I have a child named Johnny... And I meet some rando that doesn't know Johnny, never met Johnny before. I meet some rando in the grocery store. I'm not going to be like, oh, hi, I'm Johnny's mom. No, I'm going to say I'm Ayla. Okay. Right? Like, they use that in reference to, like,
very
their
specific,
kids' friends.
Yeah.
Or, like, right. So, like, it's not even, like, the way you're talking about it, right? It doesn't become their name.
Yeah, but I would say the same is true of the people who do that, too. Like, it's within a certain context.
No, I've heard people do it, like...
To strangers?
No, to, like... They're people that know them as their real names.
My grandparents, and I think my grandparents' generation, this was very common where they referred to each other as like mom and dad. Like my grandmother called my grandfather dad.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
It was weird to me too, and it was my family. Yeah. Here's the other funny thing about this whole mama papa thing. Do you think this was a way Like, it's funny because nobody was bothered by the that I saw that nobody was bothered by the mama papa, but like husband wife, right? Like, this is somewhat of the equivalent of husband and wife.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And so it's funny that like no one really like was bothered by it. Like, the semantics of it all changed everything.
Well, I don't think it's semantics of it all. I think the reason nobody's bothered
The
by it
Omegaverse
is
of it all.
that it is the Omegaverse of it
Yeah.
all, right? Somebody is literally the like mother, like in Omegaverse you are the
True.
mother, like this is like written into
Yeah.
the lore, into this universe that you've stepped into. So it's very different than, like, I would say it is different from husband wife, because like that isn't based in some like fantasy world where there are like special rules. That's based in like our real life, like the real world.
Yeah, I guess for me, I don't see a difference because this has come up a lot of times where the idea of like, if right when like a lesbian couple or a gay couple has kids, their question is always asked, well, who's the mom and who's the dad?
But what I'm saying is it's different in this context because the
It's
Pit Babe
very
is not
specific.
in the real world. Pit Babe is in Omegaverse.
Yeah.
Right? So like that comes into play when you're talking about like a
Right.
couple in the real world, but like in Omegaverse, that is a real thing.
Yeah. I did appreciate how they explained Omegaverse within the show. So if you didn't really know like Omega and Alpha and Enigma, you don't have to do the research.
I mean,
they kind of like
people still got it wrong. Like every
Sure.
time, like every week there had to, like, I was clarifying for you. I will say, me and Jovi got it down pretty pat, pretty quick. But like everyone else, we're having to remember. We're like, no, that's not how it works.
like
You
who's
have
the
it
Omega,
backwards.
who's the Alpha,
What does it
who's the
mean?
Enigma, what's going
Yeah.
on. Okay. Where do we go next? Once we've covered Omegaverse, what else?
I mean,
I will say Pavel and Pooh killed it
yeah.
as Babe and Charlie. I thought their dynamic was excellent. I loved the like intricacies of this storyline because you kind of have like a lot of layers to it. Like, you have the overall racing, and I remember seeing a creator be like, so like, why do we have the cars? Like, what? Why?
Well,
do we
because
have
that's like how
cars?
they're. that's the theme.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Um,
theme. That's how they meet. That's how they whatever. Like, yeah.
But then when it's revealed that like Charlie was just trying to protect the other alphas that were under Papa Chin, or Daddy as he's referred
Daddy.
to, the whole
Yeah.
translated Daddy.
Yeah. Evil daddy.
It turns out that like he wasn't really specifically going after Babe. He was like just trying to protect like the ultimate alpha, which I thought was kind of romantic that it eventually developed into like Charlie was committed to protecting Babe. Once he got to know Babe, he like put his whole self into it. But yeah, the underlying finding out, like, there were so many layers that like I didn't foresee. I don't know if you foresaw like the fact that like Charlie was a child of Papa Chin,
Oh yeah,
and like Jeff was also a child of Papa Chin. They all just went through that.
Yeah.
Went through literally all of them except for North and Sonic,
North, Sonic,
and kind of Kim because he was just a
Scylla,
racer.
Lung.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was just
Yeah.
the garage guy. That's it.
The evil garage boy, whose name I don't remember now.
Yeah, I didn't even write him on the list.
Yeah.
He was just a blip. He eventually did go
Over to Red Racing.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
But he wasn't raised as like.
right.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Pavel and Pooh really killed this. Pavel is one of those boys that like I would have supported this even if it was terrible. Pavel
Yeah.
is just one of those boys for me that like that man could read the dictionary and I'd be like, Yindy do I?
Yeah.
I'd be like, you did it. I'm proud of you, Pavel. I just really like Pavel as a person.
Yeah.
And so like I would have supported this. I was so happy for Pavel when he got cast in this project. I think that he's an incredibly talented actor. Like, I genuinely think Pavel is so talented. What was funny when all the pairings got announced is I had watched a little bit of Boy's Journey, and I, like, picked out Pooh as the one that I had liked.
Yeah.
And so when that pairing got announced, I was like, this is fun. I think that for me, Pavel and Pooh have a very, like, P-Nong bro energy. Like, I don't really buy them as, like, a ship.
Yeah.
And I don't think I need to, because I think that Charlie and Babe, I believe, as boyfriends.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what's so cool about this show and about Change and about how they've played this, is that, like, I don't think I need to buy them as a ship to buy these characters. Like, I think it's so separate, and I do appreciate that. That, like,
yeah, I agree.
I think that they did such a good job with Charlie and Babe that I believe them. But, like, Pavel and Pooh, like, if they go recast for a million other things, I'm not going to be like, oh no, my ship, like, you know.
Yeah, and that's been interesting to watch too, with this like whole Silub Suppanut situation, because I really love Alan and Jeff. Alan and Jeff were so cute. They had great chemistry. They had a fun storyline. But in real life, I definitely feel like Silub and Pawn are just like characters they played on screen, and I don't need to see them interact. Whereas like Silub and Suppanut are great friends and have such fun like dynamic,
because they're both like 82.
Yeah, I like them interacting. So yeah, I agree. I like the idea that they really developed this cast as a whole, and there wasn't a ton of emphasis placed on like, you have to only pay attention to this boy. And I really loved to see like kind of the internet navigate this, because we see this so often, especially in GMMTV, where like two boys will stick together, and if they like hang out with another person, people are like, how dare you?
How dare you?
And you're like, they're actors playing a role. Like, hopefully we're getting to a place in BL where like the fandom is maturing to a point, like yes, there will always be your ships and people will always be passionate about ships, but I feel like there's becoming a bigger voice of people being like, be real. Like, these people are real people. They're playing characters.
I think it's also still okay, like, the ship work, and like let them play that shippy game.
Yeah.
But it's not real, and I don't need them to be real. Like, I don't need to know Pooh as a person, because also like I'm not entitled to know him as a real person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only entitled to know the character of Pooh that he puts forward. And so like, yes, play that character as a part of the ship. Play the character as Pooh outside of the ship. But like, I think that as soon as people finally realize and admit that they have no ownership of knowing who these people really are, that's when we can all just like have fun with this again.
Yeah, I agree.
But speaking of Alan and Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, can we talk about how Pawn is actually typecast? Hear me out. This is literally the exact character that Pawn played in Gen Y. So if you're a psycho Gen Y supporter like me, listen, I like Gen Y. Say what you're going to say. When I first watched Gen Y, I was like, this is the stupidest thing I ever saw. And then I realized that I was in love with Gad. And so I rewatched Gen Y, and I was like, this is a masterpiece. And I went down like the rabbit hole of like, it's like Charlie and It's Always Sunny with like the red threads, like connecting the dots. I'm like, no, you guys, it's all full circle. I was like that psycho. Okay. This character, this is just Gen Y. If you think about it, Pit Babe is just Gen Y with like in a different packaging. And this is like Cool Ranch Gen Y.
The same thing. He's the same character in The Moment I Need You. He's like the bartender worker boy that has to take care of
but
like.
In Gen Y, he also literally sees the future.
Sees the future. Yeah.
Like, it's wild. Honestly, okay, no, Pit Babe is not Cool Ranch Gen Y. Pit Babe is Flamin' Hot Gen Y.
I want to know why they didn't do anything with like the supernatural of it all. Like, right, like only Pawn's character had that, like, that was such a weirdly placed like supernatural situation.
Well, no, they all had to, like, Babe has supernatural powers.
No, in Gen Y.
Oh, in Gen Y. Like, yeah.
I remember when that happened, I was like, wait, why? I thought this was just like a fun like college BL situation. No, we have future seeing. Like, what? And a tattoo.
It all was leading him to Pit Babe.
It's true. That was the workshop for Pit Babe.
Yeah. No, I think that Alan and Jeff, I did really like their story. I thought that it was funny the way that they like had them sort of court, and I use that word purposely because Silent is 85 years old.
The character.
Yeah.
Literally
is also older.
I think he's in his early 30s.
Yeah.
This character is supposed to be, I think, like 35, and Pawn's character is supposed to be like 20 or 21. There's like a 16 or 18-year age difference, maybe, or maybe
Yeah,
12.
but
It was
I,
like a
like-
double-digit age difference.
I thought that it was funny how they had him. They kind of like showed, okay, yeah, what does it look like when like somebody older is trying to sort of woo someone younger, because like trends change, and like it's very like playful of like, bro, this is so cringe. Like,
'Cause
this
he
is
can't-
not something people do.
He can't push it too hard because then he becomes like a little predatory.
Creepy,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's cute that he goes to like North and Sonic to be like, I haven't dated in a year. How do I do that?
He's like, how do I do this? Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed their courtship more
Yeah.
than anything else. I liked that more than like when they finally got together, because I do feel like when they finally got together it was almost a cop out, because after that all we ever got from them was sex scenes. Like
Yeah.
we didn't get any like actual relationship development between them.
Right. I mean, which is funny because that's literally the conversation they have when when they're first starting to bang, is that Jeff is like, don't you want to get to know each other more? And Alan's like, no. We don't need that.
So like I will say that like I think for them I did enjoy the courtship the most, because like for me what I like when you have people in relationships and shows is seeing the development of that relationship, which we got with Charlie and Babe.
I guess you kind of get that when they're in the garage. It's just not romantic. Right? Like you see Loong trying to like take Jeff under his wing and like,
but that's all
warm
before they
him
get
up.
together.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is like once they got together,
that was it.
There was no more development.
No.
Yeah, we didn't get to like see any more development, which I was like,
Right.
I was kind of disappointed about, because I was like, this could be such an interesting dynamic.
It's because Jeff freaking keeps getting kidnapped, and
He got kidnapped once.
and sweet Loong didn't he? No, he got kidnapped twice. The first time he was like held like on the floor. He had his hands behind his back, and then the second time he got a chair.
Well, no, he was but it was all the same kidnapping.
I thought it was
only one kidnapping.
No, it
He
was
got
two different
no.
kidnappings.
No, he got kidnapped after they banged the first time, and then he didn't get him back until he went in the final episode to the house.
No, I'm pretty sure because doesn't Kenta kind of let him go? Because then you have the second freeing, which is like at the whatchamacallit.
He ends up in the house before they get together.
Yeah.
But but after they're together, he's only kidnapped the once.
Oh, there's just so much to this show.
Yeah.
He goes back and forth to that house.
Because, like, he also didn't even really get kidnapped. He went in the house and
He
got
like
caught.
broke in. That's what it was.
Like, he broke in and got
That's
caught.
what it was.
So he didn't
Okay,
really get,
okay.
like, kidnapped.
Yeah. They like hold him. Right.
Yeah.
Because he's gone for a couple of days and people like don't question it. They're like, where did Jeff go? Because then, Charlie is like, oh yeah, he disappears sometime.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. But I really liked them, but North and Sonic were my favorite.
Hilarious.
And you know what? I love that it never officially turned romantic.
It didn't. They
I
kind
love
of were
that.
like, I think I like you. And that was it.
Yeah.
And then
I
they
love
just
that
were,
we never became boyfriends officially,
I
at least as
know.
far as we know, because anything could happen.
It's so true.
In my mind, in the future, we're dating. Like, I'm so into it. I love it.
agree.
And I loved the, like, subtle nod from Winner, P-Pop, who we'll get to after this, in the final episode when he's like, what, do you guys love each other or something?
That was
It was
cute.
amazing.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to Sweet Pea Pop, let's start with Wei. Oh, Wei.
Oh, way.
I felt like the only solution for him was death.
Here's the thing. I never liked Wei. Didn't like Wei from the first time. Didn't like Wei in the middle. Didn't like Wei during the essay. Like,
There was no redemption for
There-
him. And
you
I
can't.
do appreciate that Pit Babe was like, no.
yeah, listen, I think it's fair that he died, because here's the thing is, like, you could, and they were slowly trying to work up to, like, rehumanizing him, but you can never redeem yourself from that,
I
right?
agree.
So, like, it never would have felt right for him to get a happy ending. It never would have felt right for him to, like, be friends with Babe again.
I was going to say, and
it
Pete
would
was
have
clearly
been-
into him.
It would have been, like, gross.
Yeah.
Like, because no matter what situation you're in, no matter what you feel you're up against, like what he did is never okay and is never the answer and is never the only way out. And so like,
yeah, what was it about Daddy that these men had zero like will of their own? Sweet Kenta got slapped around 200 times.
Well, because they had been gaslit and brainwashed from the time they were children. Like that's what it is.
At least Kenta didn't hurt other people.
Except for Pete.
Stupid. Wait, what did he do to Pete?
Literally almost murdered him. He like almost stabbed him in the face.
Oh, right. That was a wild revelation when we find out that for real they like had a moment. I enjoyed that.
I know, the little sweet little babies with the soccer and they play the soccer.
That was cute.
Listen, now that Way's dead, I think Pete can rehabilitate Kenta because Kenta's still going through it. Like, yes, my dude Kenta came through in the end. Allah, never let me go. Thank you. Where in the end, Chimon comes through and is like, I'll kill you, Dad. Right? Like, he literally... Sorry, Perth. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Perth. Perth literally...
He sees the
shoots
light.
His dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Kenta comes through in the end. But he's still clearly going through it because when Tony dies, he's still, like,
Papa.
clearly all messed up. I feel like Pete can rehabilitate him.
I agree.
Yeah.
They had their history. Winner is the winner.
Winner. Listen, first misstep in this show.
If you've not watched La Cuisine, go do it because you will truly see and understand the journey that P-Pop has been on.
Oh my God, Pop. Oh my God. Okay, here's the thing is I never until this show thought Pop was hot. Like, so cute, adorable.
So sweet.
A great actor.
Yeah.
Superb in La Cuisine. So cute. Like we interviewed.
He's very soft.
We had the opportunity to interview him for La Cuisine, and he was very soft spoken. Never did I think I was never like, you know who's hot? Pop.
When he pulled a full like Joker in this show, I was
but truly, this like literally
damn.
Anytime from like that first or second episode when he's like in the diner club, and he's like, I'll race you for him. And he's like, I'm going to take your man. I was like,
yes, please.
I was like, go with him. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm rooting for him. I was like, my guy, you got to go with him right now. You should like trip Babe, make him fall on his face or something so he loses like hundo P. Like, even if Babe like wins the race, you like go get in winner's car after. Like, oh my God. And then when like literally anytime he's like beating someone or like
I was like, me next.
Yeah, I was like I volunteer. Honestly, anytime he like starts to yell at somebody, when he gets like aggressive and he starts yelling at people, I'm like, I think you're mad at me too, right? Like, get mad at me. My God, I don't know what it is about this character. The character is just like, I think it's because this character is so mindlessly aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, he's just
no
evil.
Agenda. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he has no tortured backstory. He has no, like, he's not fighting for something bigger. Like, he's just aggressive for aggressive sake.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the children that came up through. He just was like a hired racer.
Yeah.
That they were like, and he was
always on Red Racing because remember Red Racing was their own thing, and then Daddy didn't buy them until later. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just evil to be evil.
He was just like...
And then when Daddy was like, I need you to be my henchman now that Kenta's gone, he was like, bet. He was like, yes.
Yeah.
This
he
is
was
my
like,
thing.
I got you. He's fully psychotic because in the end, he's like, okay, so you guys want to be friends now? And fully I was like, yeah, like you forgive him at that point. Fully.
He gave finger hearts and everything.
He gave the finger hearts. I was like, oh my God, he's out of his mind. Like, he's psychotic. Like, I understand why Harley Quinn with like that whole situation. Like, that would be me if I am living in the Pit Babe universe. Right? I'm transported in Omegaverse.
Will you be his mama?
I don't know about all that. No, because like, if that's a situation where you're not interested in like, I can fix you. You're interested in like, I will do your dishes. Like, I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's because the character's not like, there's not some like, he's not fighting for something.
Right,
He doesn't have some cause.
He's just psychotic.
He's fighting to fight.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, the other person we haven't mentioned is Sweet Baby Benz.
Oh, yeah, Kim.
He's all grown up.
Ben's alert.
I've been obsessed with this boy since End of Love. This is Love Story. I mean, he says the most iconic line in all of BL.
He does. I'll give him that.
But Sweet Baby Benz did not get enough screen time. But when he did, he really...
He made the most of it.
He came through.
Yeah.
I appreciate that he saw the light very quickly. I mean, he did get beat up a little. But he was like, wait. I love that they were like, you're Korean. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, he was like, yes, I am Korean, but I also speak Thai fluently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how, like... When he comes in the final episode and just starts, like, beating the crap out of Winter, I was like...
Now kiss?
Yeah. I don't know. Do I ship it?
No.
No.
I don't ship Winter with anyone. Winter.
I ship Winter with myself.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Okay, who is your favorite character in this show? One person.
Winter. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually.
Well... My fuck around.
I feel like that's your answer.
No, like character-wise, like if I'm like judging based on like their character,
the character,
like, who do I like as a character? Like who do I like as a character?
It's Winter. Winter was fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta go with Winter. Like because I can't
unhinged.
Because I can't choose Sonic over North because like my next place would be like Sonic or North, but like
okay,
they'd be tied for me.
That's the next question. Who's your favorite couple?
Oh yeah,
Sonic and North.
But they're not even officially a couple.
No, they just came as a pair.
Yeah.
My favorite couple is Alan and Jeff, and I think my favorite character would be Leung. I was just like, he was just so sweet.
Yeah.
I just like those sweet characters.
But he also like stood up for what was right.
Yeah.
Like he got aggressive when he needed to be.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I did really like Charlie as a character.
Yeah.
I thought that Charlie was very well layered for like the kind of character he is. That type of character doesn't always get to have like layers, and I thought Charlie did, and so like I think that made him really interesting, and I liked him a lot.
Yeah, every single one of these characters really had depth to them. Truly Babe's whole storyline and the depth of like his relationship with Wei, which is how you like really see the hurt that he feels from his betrayal to his death. You're like, oh, like that there's like real depth there that like he's like, when Wei is like dying and he's like, I really loved you, and he was like, did you ever love me? And Charlie's like, no, we're Penang, bro, it's Penang. He was like, he just kept being like, you're my best friend, and then he dies and he's like, I love you. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think like shout out Pavel, because Pavel really like killed this character.
He really humanized Babe, because Babe could really come across as like a fuckboy.
Like, or like a jerk.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he would be mean for like what felt like no reason.
Right. But he had really gone through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that he thought his dad was dead, and like that whole journey. So yeah, like you understand why he is who he is at the beginning, and the way that Pavel developed Babe to soften up as he gets more and more into Charlie, and the way that he resists that at the beginning, I really appreciated the idea that he was like, he like kind of baby step trusts Charlie, and then when Charlie, like, I really love the moment when Charlie runs to like pull him out of the burning car and he's in the hospital, and Babe is like, he's still mad at Charlie, but he's like, you didn't think, and you came and rescued me from the car, you really could have gotten hurt. And Charlie was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it makes
moment.
sense for Babe as a character, because like, of course, like he has been so betrayed so many times in his life by so many people that were so close to him that like, of course, at the first hint of like, this boy that I'm falling in love with is like with someone else, right? Like, of course he's gonna go to that place. If he didn't go to that place, I feel like it wouldn't have been true to the character.
Yeah.
And so like, as frustrating as it was to watch, to be like, why did you jump to that conclusion, my dude?
Yeah.
Like, I think if he hadn't jumped to that conclusion, it would have made even less sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, because Babe is such a, like, he's a very black and white character. He's like, I see you going into this apartment with Jeff, and you haven't told me about it, so obviously you're cheating on me.
Well, because, like, he has to be based on everything that's, like, happened to him in his life. Like, he has to be very black and white.
Yeah. The series was so good.
Yeah, this was a great series.
Okay, question. Would you rewatch this?
Yeah.
I already have rewatched it.
Yeah. If anybody makes a winner cut, send it to me, please. Maybe I'll make the winner cut. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have those.
You don't have time. And would you recommend this to a first timer?
No.
Yeah.
Because I think it could be confusing for, like, what most BL is because of the Omegaverse of it all.
Yeah.
I think that it could make it confusing that, like, this is a different universe versus, like, most BL is not different universe. Most BL is set in, like, the real world. And so, like, the Omegaverse of it all with the supernatural abilities and with the Mpreg and with all of that, like, that is not, those are not tropes that are typical to BL. And so I think that that could make it, like, confusing if you were to go on and then, like, want to watch more.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody pointed out that there was no women in this series.
Right.
Is there any other BL that has absolutely no women?
Oh gosh.
They were like, we don't want to see any women. Do you think it's the Omegaverse of it all? They were like, we have a mama. We don't need women.
I mean, yeah, you don't need women. It's true. Oh gosh, are there any other BLs where there's no women? Well, I mean, the short BLs, right? So, like, oh wait, no, even the TikTok BLs all have a girl.
There's always a girl. Tell us in the comments if you can think of a BL that
didn't have any other women. There's gotta be.
Like, even in this one, like, there were no maybe there was a nurse at the hospital, but, like,
there wasn't even, like, a side character.
There were no mothers. There
wasn't, like, an assistant.
No.
Yeah.
Everybody that worked for Papa Chin was a male.
Yeah. This is gonna drive me crazy. I feel like there has to be. But yeah, even, like, I'm like, okay, think through, like, the short, like, the baby productions, like, the little productions that maybe wouldn't have, like, budget for other actors.
Yeah, because, like, even in You and My Stars, wasn't there a girl?
Yeah, there's a girl.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know, stumped me.
We've been stumped. Oh, so good. I love the series.
This was an excellent series. Highly recommend.
Yeah, go watch it.
Go watch it.
This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.